Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind successful startups, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're joined by David Green, the founder of Improve On, a coaching and consulting practice dedicated to helping individuals, leaders, and organizations design sustainable well-being. With over 2 decades of coaching experience and as the author of The Age of Wellbeing, David has worked with clients ranging from individuals navigating stress and confidence to executive mastering leadership resilience to entering organizations embodying well-being into their culture. David, very warm welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure, Olivia. I'm pleased to be here.
Thank you. Amazing. Pleased to have you here. I'm excited to get to dive in. So with all my guests, I like to start at the beginning of their journey. So can you maybe take me back to before you started Improve On and what you was doing at the time and then what motivated you to start up the company?
Yeah, of course. So, in my youth, I won't go too far back, but I'll start in the youth. I was always very competitive, wanted to improve and
Nice.
play sport to a reasonably high level. And yeah, that gave me that sort of winning competitiveness, which I really took throughout my career. And I ended up working in financial services. And during that time, I worked for a company called Friends Provident, which was a fantastic company, a mutual company. So it really looked after its people and it helped me develop. And I was involved with marketing, facilitating, coaching. I helped develop an intranet at the time, which at the time was very innovative. And latterly, I was involved in branding. And all of those things were really about improvement, I
Mm,
think. And it's a word that I use for myself, and it's why I called my business what I did, Improve On. I'm all about improving.
yeah.
So I worked in financial services for about 12 years, something like that. And I was fortunate in that I got an opportunity to take redundancy. I'd always admired people that ran their own businesses. And I think I got to a sort of stage where I thought, it would be a great challenge now to run my own business. So
Yeah.
I set Improve on that back in 2012.
Okay.
And it was really focused on the things that I'd learned in the corporate world. So it was about helping individuals, teams, and organizations improve using those branding, marketing, and facilitating coaching type skills.
Amazing. And all that kind of tied together, as you say, throughout your journey in the corporate world yourself. So being able to draw on all your experiences and then having that kind of competitive edge within your personality must have suited you great as you moved to entrepreneurship from being in that corporate lifestyle.
Yeah, I'd never consider myself as an entrepreneur. I don't think
You
I'm that
should.
type of person. I'm very proud I've run my business now for 12 years. So
Yeah.
that's great. But I suppose this links to the whole story, really. This competitiveness and this wanting to win
Yeah.
and that type of thing. And that's the way I was at the time, really, is about what improvement was really about: bigger, better, faster, more, quicker, all of those
Mm.
types of words. But around the same time in 2012, I read a book by Martin Seligman, who was the ex chairman of the American Psychological Association. And he wrote a book called Flourish, which introduced the concept of well being.
Nice.
And I read this book and I thought, this is it.
Mm.
Actually, this is what improvement is about. Improvement isn't win, get better, faster. It's about well being.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of an aha moment for me. It was like, wow, this is what the focus should be. So over I don't know, several years really, I devoured information about well-being from around the world. I looked at Bhutan
Oh,
with
cool.
their gross national happiness, the first
Mm.
country really to use happiness and well-being as an organizing principle. I looked at institutes around the world, like the Legatum Institute. I looked at Greater Good Science Centre, all just devoured content from around the world, really. Looked at all the indices that there were,
Love.
indices in many different countries.
Yeah.
And that culminated in me writing my book back in 2020 called The Age of Wellbeing. And over that period, I began to drop the marketing and branding stuff that I was doing and increasingly get more and more focused on well-being. So that's my sort of journey, really.
Nice. No, and as you say, the word to improve on and the word coaching, I actually think work very well together. It reminds me of the word success. So like everybody needs to have their own opinion of what they want to improve on, but coaching is exactly that, to help you improve on something, whether it be a sport or, as you're saying, in your case, well-being, mindset, and just your attitude towards life is always the edge that coaching has for me over maybe some other form of therapy or well-being program. It's the better to get the process of improving yourself in the sense of success. So what is your success? So looking at those two together, that's where my mind goes to straight away. I don't know if that's a fair statement for me to make on your
Yeah,
behalf.
I mean, a lot of people say success is unique, and I'll
Yeah,
challenge. I'll say, actually, no, success is well-being.
go.
Actually, that is what success is for the world, but also for individuals. Yeah, where I think the individualism comes into this is, okay, what does well-being, how do you achieve your well-being? And you can achieve that in many different ways. We know, science tells us that actually it's good for us to understand ourselves. Know thyself, Aristotle said.
Yeah,
So a lot of this is based on ancient wisdom as well. But knowing my values is good for me because it helps me understand which jobs are
yep.
good for me. It helps me understand what's important in my life. And so knowing your values will be important for you too. But actually, you
Mhm.
may have slightly different values to me. So actually, success is well being, but we can do that in our own unique ways.
Yeah, exactly. It's all personalized from within us and from within our well-being. I love it. So let's dive into the business itself today so the listeners can have a little bit more context. Who would you say is probably your ideal customer? And then from there, maybe you can dive into the different offers and services that you provide once you start working with people.
Yeah, so I want to work with individuals that understand and are progressive and are starting to challenge the world system as it is. They understand things aren't quite going the way that they could be. There's a better way to do things. And I'd like to work with those individuals to help them move towards their success and what
Yeah.
well-being means for them. So that's the types of people that I work with. And I work with organizations that are visionary. So that could be B Corps that are perhaps disillusioned, or social purpose organizations, organizations that are purpose led, leaders that want to change things and leave a real legacy behind for future generations, individuals that want to thrive. Life's perhaps not quite what they want it to be at the moment. Perhaps they're burnt out, perhaps they're stressed,
Yeah.
perhaps there's a bit of a hole in their life. They're thinking, wow, I've made loads of money, but actually there's still this hole in my life at the moment. What is that? I'd argue it probably has got something to do with well-being. Yeah,
Mhm.
individuals, teams, organizations that really are future focused and progressive.
Love it. So opening for the change, and as you say, have their well-being front of mind already, so they're just looking to make that step and the encouragement of how to get that done, in essence.
Some people that there's some people talk about happiness.
Yeah.
Are you happy? And I'd argue actually happiness is part of well-being, but it's not the full thing. And that's what I can help people understand, that actually we're sad sometimes, we're happy. All of those emotions are
Yeah.
good things to have. So this focus on happiness is perhaps a little bit, I think, misguided.
Yep. Great way
We
to say.
we also hear about wellness.
Yeah.
People talk about wellness, and wellness, I think, isn't the whole of well-being. It's more linked to health, and again, health is an important part of well-being. So yeah, well-being is a bit more holistic. It's the whole thing. I think it's the whole package.
Okay, love it. Yeah, so it all makes up from there. And then what would it be like to work with you? So how exactly do you go into these organizations or with these individuals and work through problems with them?
I offer different services. So at an organizational level,
Yep.
I've got something I call well-being designed organizations. And that's a mastermind group for leaders to join. And they can talk to each other and share problems and share ideas. But it's all really about putting well-being at the heart of organizational design. Most
Yeah.
organizations still put money and finance is at the center of their organization and how they organize themselves, this is about putting well-being at the center. So that's well-being designed organizations. Then I also offer coaching for leaders, and that's called well-being mastery for leaders. And the idea there is that I coach leaders within a framework, but very much tailored to their unique needs to help them both improve their personal well-being, but also organizational well-being. So we know
Yeah.
if a leader improves their own well-being, that filters through to people in their organization, to their leadership teams, and also other people in the organization. For individuals, there's a similar type of program, which I call Thriving. So that's perhaps for busy professionals that aren't leading their organizations, but still want to focus on their well-being. So yeah, it's coaching, and it's really a coaching approach. And that's because, as you mentioned right earlier, coaching isn't about telling people what to do. It's about helping people bring out the answers that they've got within themselves to find their own success, to find their own well-being.
Yeah, I love it. And then through that, as you say, going into organizations and where they all have goals, revenue targets, whether it be numbers or lists they want to achieve, milestones they're looking to hit. But I would also argue that the well-being within that industry, if you have that locked in and everyone's in control of their own well-being within there, the rest of it should thrive from there, if that makes sense
Yeah,
as to why.
there's a lot of I think it does make sense. There's a lot of evidence that shows that organizations that focus on well-being are more productive, they perform better. There's even research that shows in America that they're some of the top performing companies financially. So well-being, hey, well-being isn't just this woolly thing.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
We all need money, right? We all need finances to get by in the world. So economic well-being, as I refer to it, is most definitely part of it.
yeah,
A company needs money to run, but it isn't the be all and end all. So yeah, it's not a woolly thing. It's the domains I look at are economic, environmental, and also the social domains as
yeah.
well. So yeah, it looks at a real holistic picture.
Amazing. And then, so let's shift to the back end of the business a little bit. So, in terms of going about acquiring customers and the marketing side of things, what did that look like? Are you finding you've got any specific channels or methods that are working well for you at the moment?
Yeah, so I use scorecards. So if you go to my website, everybody who's listening, improveon.co.uk.
Love it.
There are scorecards there that you can use to assess your own personal well-being, to assess your well-being if you're a leader, and also to assess organizational well-being. So I use those scorecards, but I also am active on LinkedIn also.
Nice. How are you finding that? Do you go about it with a cold approach or is it more organic off of the growth from LinkedIn?
It's organic. It's a challenge because I think I'm at a pioneering edge of thought leadership in many ways. And lots of businesses aren't thinking this way, so it's a real challenge for me. But I keep plugging along, and I'll get there. It's not easy to find people that want to change the way their businesses run. And also, there are many obstacles in the way at the moment. There's still stakeholder primacy,
Yeah.
shareholder primacy. Businesses or leaders in businesses are often up that we
Yep.
need to make money for our shareholders. And until that changes, it's very difficult for them. So I understand that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are real challenges.
And maybe we can touch them later on as we look to your plans for the future and see if there's things that we can improve on there. And then in terms of, I know you've got experience yourself in marketing, maybe a little bit in sales, but do you have a team that work with you improve on? Is there people behind you that help grow, or are you doing it mostly by yourself at the moment?
No, I do it by myself. My business, I'm a sole proprietor. I've done that purposefully. My business is a lifestyle business. So interestingly, I'm happy to keep my workload at a level that's good for my well-being, but I'm also
Okay.
ambitious to grow and help organizations or individuals or teams that want to improve well-being. So I'm always on the lookout, but I'm not flogging myself to death, Olivia. Too. I'm managing my own well-being too.
Again, that's important. Extra through the whole conversation, well-being needs to be front and center, and whatever you demand and whatever you depend your well-being on is what's most important and clear for you. So, with that being said, what is the vision for the next 12 months? Do you have any specific goals you're working with, any milestones you're looking to achieve, or any nice plans that you're working on and open to sharing?
Okay, yeah, so I work at different levels. So the business, I obviously want to grow the business. Part of that is I'm developing a new way to measure business performance.
Okay.
That's called the Net Wellbeing Score or News. I'm looking for organizations that would love to pilot that and test it and experiment and co-create it with me. So again, if anybody's listening and that sounds of interest, I'd love to talk with you. I'm also working at a community level. I'm a chair of trustees, a UK charity called the Network of Wellbeing.
Okay.
We're growing that charity with a view to it bringing together and inspiring people in the UK community who want to grow well-being. So
Lovely.
that's a big part of the work that I do, and it's volunteering work. Again, part of my well-being.
I was gonna
So
say.
yeah, those are the areas I want to grow. And in terms of a vision for the future, my vision is a world where success is measured in terms of well-being. So
Hmm.
moving away from GDP and measuring ourselves individually on how much money we have or how many things we
Yeah.
have, and measuring ourselves really about, well, how's our well-being?
Love it. And I think that's a message at the moment that's very, in my mind anyway, and I don't know if it's just outside influences, but it's very front of mind and hot topic. And I don't know if maybe that's just the way that society is unraveling at the moment, but I feel like well-being as a subject, whether it's just on trend, I feel is very important at the moment in the world.
Well, it's nice to hear you say that. That's good. So I'm pushing at some open doors there, particularly with the younger generation, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. But yeah, I mean, it is well-being's rising up the world agenda. As I mentioned, Bhutan was perhaps the first country to organize itself in that type of fashion.
Mm.
But there's the Wellbeing Economy Alliance, and they have an initiative called We Go. So there are wellbeing governments, and that includes governments from Scotland, Wales, Iceland, I believe is involved as well, New Zealand, Canada. So many organizations, nations are starting to think, hang on a minute, our role is to increase well-being. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a definite trend towards that understanding that well-being is a better organizing principle for all of us
Yeah.
rather than just wealth.
Yeah, and with that rising trend, I'd hope to see you come through the woodworks as well and be at the forefront of that wave because it's great to see good things. I would say though, what would you say is the biggest challenge in kind of making all these targets achievable at the moment?
Entrenched principles. So I've given one already. In the organizational world, shareholders still are the main focus for many organizations. And until that changes legally, then many leaders are actually set in to focus on that. So at that level, that's one example. The other example, probably at the national level, is that most countries are still focused on GDP. And actually, that is historic, been around for years. And to change that's going to be really difficult. But there are many people across the world who are working on this and seeking change. So it will happen over time, I'm sure. But yeah, there are still some very entrenched type thinking that is limiting progress.
Yeah, so that kind of intrinsic thought needs to change within to help the scale grow from there. And then
That was at an individual level.
at an individual level.
Yeah, also, yeah, I think we're all perhaps still a little bit focused on
Yeah.
making money, and that, like I say, that I get that, but we need to change the way we think. And I get so I'd argue, and I argue in the book, that one of the key things we need to change is education and get our education more focused on well-being of the children that are going through that.
No, I agree too. There's a lot of, as you say, it's like a grassroots stepping stone. Again, going back to coaching, I always refer to coaching from a sporting mindset, but I feel like it relates very well to any form of coaching. But when you have, if you look at football, for example, in the UK, and you have the grassroots setup coming through there, they should instrument, they should introduce that into schools, as you said, is a form of well-being, as a form of protecting your own health, protecting and knowing just the importance how that can be. Whereas I feel like at the moment society is very focused on outside influences. So with the rise of social media, as you're saying, people focusing a lot more on what is success. Okay, success is being rich, success is being happy, success is being this, but what is success for you personally is very different. That's not what's going to make your well-being thrive. So starting from the bottom upwards is
Yeah, we
where I,
need changes at all levels.
yeah, 100%. Okay, amazing. So just to finish it off a little bit, I'm going to move into a bit of a lightning round. So, what is one tool or resource that you've introduced into the business so far that has been a big game changer?
Okay, that would probably be my CAMBI model. So the CAMBI model is a model of well-being, and it stands for creating meaning. With
Nice.
meaning in our lives, we've got more reason why. So we're more motivated, we're more likely to persist and keep going. So that's creating meaning, achieving potential. So this is all part of well-being, right? So when
Yep.
we achieve our potential, we build our self-esteem, we're more confident, and there's an upward spiral of thriving. So that's achieving meaning, sorry, achieving our potential. Then we've got nurturing relationships, which is the N. And research tells us that we're social creatures. We need other people and they
Yeah.
need us. So well-being is collective, it's not just individual. Our support network that we have around us is really important. One of the biggest contributors to our well-being. So that's
Mm-hmm.
nurturing relationships. Then we've got building resilience. So we need to be resilient in this world. We've got climate change, we've got AI, we've got all of these different things going on, and we need to be able to adapt and overcome and work around these things. So, with greater resilience, we're able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, the E is enriching lives. So again, this goes back to the fact that well-being is not just individual, it's collective. So if I help to build and enrich your life, Olivia, then that's good for your well-being, but it's also good for me. We like to
Yeah.
help each other. So it's the Canby model, and that's available for anybody free on my website. So just take a look.
Love it, love it. And then as a final note before we log out, to our listeners who are maybe just at the start of their journey, what advice can you leave them with to help moving forward?
Okay, that's a good question. I think the first, Aristotle said, know thyself. And I think a lot of well-being really does start with knowing yourself. And
Yeah,
part of
love
that
it.
you learn as through experiences. I think probably experiences is one of the best ways to learn about yourself. But also just taking some time every now and again to think, what is what is my purpose? Many people haven't thought about their purpose. Many
Yeah.
people haven't thought about their values or who they are as a person. So that's probably a really good starting point is just take some time, reflect, and think about who are you? What do you really want? What does success look like for you? Those types of questions.
Love it. Powerful stuff. Find the why and work towards it.
Yeah.
Amazing. And with that is a wrap on another inspiring episode of Founders Future. David, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. I know we mentioned it a few times, but where can people reach out to connect with you and work with you if they'd like to do so?
Yeah, visit the website. So it's improve on, the two words put together, improve on.co.uk.
Amazing. So, to our listeners, please go and connect with David, improveon.co.uk. And please do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we were able to go from 0 to 30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep climbing and we will see you on the next one.